The parliament is debating electoral reforms and Vande Mataram. Over 100 opposition MPs led by the DMK have moved the Speaker of the Lok Sabha with an impeachment motion against Justice G.R. Swaminathan of the Madras High Court, who gave that contentious order on the lighting of the Kartigai Deepam on the Deepathoon at Thiruparankundram. It's a contentious issue, Vasudha, one that's taken a decisive political turn with strong political comments as well, coming from Andhra Pradesh's Deputy Chief Minister Pawan Kalyan as well.
That's right. Deputy Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Pawan Kalyan, has said that this is threatening judiciary in the name of pseudo-secularism. He said that secularism is a two-way street and that respect for Hindus also has to be restored. Now, talking about the DMK's impeachment motion, it's not just the DMK's impeachment motion, it is an India bloc's impeachment motion, with the DMK managing to get signatures of 107 MPs, Veera, which is more than the number required. But remember, the last two impeachment motions against judges have not really made, have not really moved so far in the parliament. So we'll have to wait and see what the outcome is. But yes, the political ramifications of this is going to be huge, with the BJP accusing the DMK of Muslim appeasement and the DMK saying that all that it wants is a stalling of communal agenda.
That's right. Let's get a legal perspective on that impeachment motion against a High Court judge for a judgment he has delivered. Joining us this evening, senior advocate at the Supreme Court, Aryaman Sundaram. Sir, thanks very much for speaking to us. The accusation made by the opposition MPs for the motion include the conduct of the judge, favoritism to an individual in a community, and deciding cases on the basis of a political ideology. In your opinion, is a judgment on a contentious issue triggering political demands for an impeachment? How would you see this demand?
Let me be very frank with you. There are two grave concerns which arise here. One is the increasing tendency of courts to interfere in ecclesiastical matters, in matters of religion, in matters of theology. I think the whole problem arose 4 decades ago through a judgment of the Supreme Court. Because what is secularism? Secularism means the government does not involve itself in religious affairs. It leaves religious affairs alone. The Indian Supreme Court, however, through a judgment which was many decades ago, said that there is a more proactive role the government has to take, which is to protect and encourage the religious beliefs, they protect the religious beliefs. I feel that is where the problem started, because with that, a carte blanche was given to the executive to involve itself in religious matters, in ecclesiastical matters. And once the executive involves itself, it's not a short step away before the judiciary involves itself. I, for one, believe the judiciary should not involve itself in ecclesiastical matters. That is one grave concern of mine. This increasing tendency of judiciary to involve itself in ecclesiastical matters.
Absolutely.
The other grave concern is the misuse, according to me, this impeachment process. The purpose of the impeachment is really when the matters of high corruption, moral turpitude, reasons a judge does not deserve to sit as a judge, and impeachment was considered the way to remove him. Not because you do not agree with his ideology or his personal judgment, certainly not because you don't agree with the given judgment. It may be totally wrong. I, for one, do not agree with this judgment at all. However, it is not a ground for impeachment. And let me tell you why in very simple terms. Every judge, whether you like to admit it or not, is a human being. Every judge has his own views. We've had great judges like Krishna Iyer, Chinnappa Reddy, D.A. Desai, who were so pro-labor. They were pro-tenants. They had pro-leanings, and which showed in their judgments. There are other judges who are so pro-revenue, pro-government, that their judgments show those leanings. There are others who are pro-SSCs, and those show leanings which would go against the government. So every judge, whether you like to admit it or not, has his own personal views on issues, social, political, otherwise. That is not a crime. That is not something to impeach a judge for. so long as a judge delivers a judgment which he has power to deliver.
Right.
Howsoever wrong the judgment is, unless you can show it was actuated by corrupt motives.
That's right.
Or actuated through something which was totally wrong, undue influence, etc., he does not deserve to lose his place as a judge. You may not agree with his thinking, but he is a constitutional appointment.
Absolutely.
And you cannot remove him for that reason, and you can't use this impeachment.
Okay, Mr. Sundaram,
Say, I don't like your judgments, toe the line of what I want. You don't toe the line of what I want, I'm impeaching you.
Okay. So, Mr. Sundaram, taking off from what you said, I want to ask you two questions. One is, you've seen in the last few days these, this moves to make impeachment motions against Justice Yashwant Verma, or for that matter, Shekhar Yadav, and now Justice G.R. Swaminathan. When political parties make this move, where does that leave judiciary? And would you actually think that judiciary should not be speaking on matters of religion at all?
Two things. One, please don't compare the impeachment of Justice Yashwant Verma with this impeachment. This is exactly what I said. Corruption of a judge, moral turpitude of a judge. These are reasons for impeachment. However, the judge's views coming out in a judgment which is entitled in law to pass. Now, that, according to me, can never be a ground for impeachment. So let's not compare the two.
Absolutely.
And yes, to answer your second question, I believe the courts today are interfering far too much in ecclesiastical matters. It's a different matter when there are civil disputes arising out of, let's say, the land of whether it's a temple or a mosque like Ayodhya, etc. But on pure religious issues, pure ecclesiastical issues, I do not believe the courts could interfere. And this is why I said, I think the entire problem has arisen because the Indian Supreme Court gave a different interpretation of secularism, of not accepting the universal concept of secularism that the state does not interfere or involve itself in any matter with religion, but giving a more proactive role to the state to further protect religious beliefs, etc. Now, once you give that gateway and it opens, and the executive uses it, naturally, the other pillar of democracy, the judiciary would also take that on. And that's where I think the problem is. That has to stop. We cannot involve either the executive or the judiciary in pure ecclesiastical matters.
You're making a very important, nuanced point there, one which goes into the definition of some of the terms as we understand it, but more importantly, that there needs to be categorical impropriety first proven before an impeachment motion is moved in Parliament. Would you believe, very, very briefly, sir, then, that just in the middle of a judgment and a legal process where the challenge is before a two-judge bench and that the Supreme Court is also hearing the contempt petition, is it a little hasty on the part of the opposition to bolster numbers for political reasons? I'm just putting that thought across. Very brief answer from you.
I will not say it is hasty. I will say it is wrong.
Okay.
I will say it is wrong because it's not a question of haste. It is not a matter at all, whether now or later, that the impeachment motion should have been moved. Let me make two things very clear. I do not agree with the judgment at all. I disagree completely with the judgment. However, despite my disagreeing with the judgment, I believe that the impeachment is completely wrong, not hasty, not premature, but wrong.
Thanks very much there, Mr. Aryaman Sundaram, putting that point across categorically as you always do on issues of this nature. But Vasudha, this is a larger political debate, and let's just listen into the DMK and the BJP before we go ahead to our panel, political panel this evening.
The constitution is well designed where there is a balance between all the four pillars of democracy and the things to save the constitution. When there is overreach from one wing or the one pillar over the other, there are remedies in the constitution.
DMK hates Sanatan, hates Hindus and hates Samvidhan. And this is exhibited from the fact that now DMK MPs want to bring an impeachment motion against a judge who upheld the right of the Hindus to practice their faith which spans thousands of years. The state used every force to try and stop the Hindu devotees, to call them goons, to unleash lathis on them, rather than have sympathy for the Hindus who only wanted to exercise their constitutional right. Now another constitutional murder is being committed by the DMK.
Joining us now is Aswathaman Alimuthu of the BJP. We have Harish Mohammed Ibrahim. He's a political analyst. He supports the DMK and India Bloc parties. We have Sumansi Raman, who's a political analyst. We'll also be joined by Kovai Satyan of the AIDMK shortly. Thank you all of you for being part of this broadcast. Mr. Aswathaman, the DMK has led this impeachment motion and it has managed to get signatures from 107 opposition MPs. And it is saying that law and order is the responsibility of the state government and it will stall every communal agenda that the BJP claims wants to promote. How would you respond to that?
After the Kesavananda Bharati case, it is an apparent attack on Constitution. Instead of going to the appeal against the order, if they feel aggrieved, they are going for impeachment. It is a straight attack on Constitution because that impeachment motion should be in various other grounds, not for an order which you do not like. Now that DMK and other parties in India Alliance treated a constitution as a joke. They try to attack a judiciary after, as I said, and after the Kesavananda Bharati case, because in the Kesavananda Bharati case, the earlier Congress government said that we are going to throw away the constitution because the constitution was passed in parliament only. Right. The same approach by the same India Alliance. Then they were as a ruling party. Now they are in the opposite. So they are go for impeachment motion. But it is a pure attack on judiciary. They should obey the order while it is a...
No, when you say, Aswathaman Alimuthu, when you say that they should obey the order, there are also questions raised about the fact that there was a two-judge bench order, the fact that the BJP is politicizing an issue, a lighting which has been peaceful for the last many decades. Harish Mohammed Ibrahim... I'll get to you again. Let me get Harish Mohammed Ibrahim first to respond to you very briefly. Harish Mohammed Ibrahim, irrespective of the arguments that's made, you heard Aryaman Sundaram there saying that the opposition's wrong at this stage to move an impeachment motion because of a judgment. He's saying that there is no proven impropriety or discussion around that. Why move an impeachment motion? It's purely a political optics move.
No, Veera, as I said earlier during your earlier debates before regarding a special judgment made by the same judge, Mr. GRS, and he is not even in a particular position to hold that judgment in a particular order. And whatever the judgment so far given by him, beyond optics, he has created a ruckus in every corner of Tamil Nadu. And as a member of the highest judiciary board, he's going and conducting himself in a particular religious rally, that too banned by the same Indian Constitution, RSS. He was being a part of several functionaries which the RSS conduct. And if you want to go ahead with the basis of constitutional book in his orders, then there is no single order you can take in place. Even in this Thiruparankundram, he has not even given his political word. He's given a verdict not on the constitutional book, but he is given a verdict on his political agenda, which the BJP sets for these kind of judges.
No, those are sharp allegations, Vasudha. No. Ultimately, the question is that how do you de-link the politics from a deeper issue of this nature? And perhaps that's the question you should, what are you picking up in Parliament?
Of course, it is. These are the political game which the BJP should play, not the highest.
Harish Mohammed, the three reasons that have been cited. Well, the three reasons which have been cited by the opposition party, the conduct of Judge G. Swaminathan raises serious questions regarding impartiality and secular functioning of the judiciary. The second, they go on to say that undue favoritism has been shown. And Veera, the third thing that they say is he has been deciding cases on the basis of particular political ideology and against the secular principles of the Constitution. Now, we did hear Aryama Sundaram, so clearly there are questions as to why this impeachment motion has been passed. Sumant Raman, help us understand. Now, I do have the list of signatories here. It's not just the DMK and the Indian National Congress. There's Samajwadi Party, there's MIM, there's RJD, there's Aam Aadmi Party, Shiv Sena, UBT, and the NCP SP. So clearly, all opposition parties, India Bloc seem to have come together for this, which is why 107 signatures have been, gotten by the DMK. How do you see the larger political outcome of something like this? Because in the north of India, Hindu or anti-Hindu really has those kind of ramifications.
Yeah, I think that the longer this goes on, it will start to have an impact in Tamil Nadu also. Because look, Vasudha, what is the bizarre thing here is two major points. One, the Muslim organizations do not seem to have a problem with this judgment. In fact, there are many of the, for instance, the Dargah committee and the others, they have not come out, and there are several videos of Muslim, members coming out and saying that they have no problem with this judgment because it does not deprive any of the rights of the Dargah. It in fact protects the Dargah property. It says protects access to the Dargah and forms of the steps and so on. So that is one. So why is the DMK government wanting to make this such a big issue? That's point number one. Second, this impeachment motion is bizarre because Justice Swaminathan's order is yet to be stayed.
That's right.
Or quashed. Now, I can understand. Let us say the Supreme Court comes down heavily on the judgment and says that this is unconstitutional and this should not have been passed and they potentially pass strictures and so on. Then you have a point. You have a point, an argument to say that this is unconstitutional and this judgment is bad in law. But here, that stage has not been reached. The matter is being heard by the Supreme Court. There's a division bench parallelly hearing a related matter in the High Court. So nobody has actually said that this order is flawed.
So Sumant Raman, if I can sum up what you're saying the judicial process is still pending, and why hastily move in an impeachment motion at this stage? And that's the question Arish Mohammed Ibrahim.
One quick
Quickly,
point.
Go ahead.
Basically, what they're saying is, if you pass an order that I don't like, I will not obey it until the appeal is decided. I may or may not obey it after the appeal is decided also. Right now, we don't know. But if this law, if this system becomes applicable to an individual, let's say you are convicted by a court of law and sentenced to imprisonment. Can you just say, okay, I'm going home, bye-bye. I'm going on appeal.
You're making an important point. You made an important point. Harish Mohammed Ibrahim, there are two aspects to this discussion, and let's just put this very clear. One is the issue itself. There are many who stand on different sides of that issue itself. The other is the movement of an impeachment motion when there is an appeal pending before a two-judge bench and an appeal against the contempt motion filed before the apex court. Is it hasty political optics for the opposition to unite and impeach or make allegations against a sitting judge at this stage?
No, Veera, the consequences of the situations which has been erupted during this Thiruparankundram issue has not been, it is a simple instance because it has been culminated agenda of the BJP, which has been executed by you can take it as a contempt of court because it has a pure instance of a judge being polarized the entire society for his own agenda because he's not been the habitual one. He has been offended these kind of sentiments of Tamil Nadu not for the first instance. It has been a repeated offender he is. And whatever the judgment he has been passed so far is not on the constitutional books. He has done through his Sanatana Dharmas, whatever the ideology.
What evidence, what allegation? I mean, these are baseless allegations at the moment.
Yeah. No, let me complete. Let me complete. Veera, let me complete.
But Harish Mohammed, before I go to us...
Go ahead, Harish. Quickly.
But Harish Mohammed, before you answer Veera's question, also answer this one question that Sumant Raman has asked: who is the aggrieved party here? Because that's something that a lot of analysts have also been asking. That no Muslim voice has really spoken against the order.
Because the entire Muslim community and the entire people of Tamil Nadu know this is a rubbish things which the judge can do. So they don't want to open a mouth on these kind of rubbish things, because we hold on the secular fabric of this great nation. We follow the entire Tamil people know where to stand for and what to stand for and whom to stand for. And we don't stand for these kind of judge. Let the political take its own course. Let the constitution take its own course. But Mr. GRS
let the judicial process take the own course. You say, Harish Mohammed Ibrahim, I think we need to separate fact from fiction here. There are allegations that you can make, but they do not have substance at the moment. Let me get Ashwattham Ali Muthu very, very briefly here. Ashwattham Ali Muthu, while the impeachment motion can be questioned, the core issue is that the BJP is purely politicizing an issue, trying to affect communal harmony and create law and order problems in that area. That's the only intention of the BJP, to create communal polarization for your electoral and political prospects.
And using
I think I asked myself, what are all the uses used against us while I am seeking my constitutional rights? It isn't merely I ask my constitutional right. It is deserved. It is preserved by the Indian Constitution. My religious right is there. It is my temple land. The thousands of years that lamp is lighting in the every year. All 365 days I am asking for a one day. But I face all unwanted words. I'm trying to creating the riot. That is rubbish. Yes, if Hindu ask his fundamental right, is a rubbish in India. One thing you all forgot: the DMK people try to threaten the judges, sir. Sir, in same High Court, 4 corruption cases against DMK ministers are reopened. One Anna University, the POXO case, Anna University rape case, that CBI inquiry was sit inquiry was ordered. Another POXO case, CBI inquiry was ordered. Now the DMK people try to taking a new tool to threaten the judges. If you pass order against me,
I'm going to give the last word on this conversation to Vasudha and then Sumant Raman. Vasudha, go ahead.
Let me get in Sumant Raman here.
I will threaten the judges of Madras High Court. I will pass a motion in impeachment.
Sir, the DMK, do you find the DMK in a spot here, and how do you see the Congress party supporting something like this? Because when it comes to rights of the Hindus, the DMK is saying that we got the Agama Shastras open for all backgrounds, which are not upper caste. We let the temples go open for priesthood, and this is just for the benefit of the state. Are people buying this argument, or are people of Tamil Nadu buying the argument that the BJP is making, that this is against Hindu sentiment?
No, I think that the DMK will not see too much of downside. It will help them consolidate their minority vote. Without the minority vote, they will be wiped out. So they know that. That is the core of why they are in power. So for them, it's beneficial. What I can't understand is, what does the Congress gain by this? I mean, the Congress is already being hauled over the coals for being called, and quote unquote being called, anti-Hindu. What do they gain by this is completely beyond me. And today to see Priyanka Vadra to stand there with the rest of the team and present that impeachment motion, I mean, it quite honestly, to me, it's bizarre. Why would Uddhav Thackeray, for instance, go and be seen to be supporting something like this? Is again something which I have absolutely no answer. What they expect to gain from this is completely defeating me. But one point, Vasudha, I think we will, Veera. One thing is, we have to wait until the Honorable Supreme Court comes up with its verdict on this. After that, we will know this is a political move now. The impeachment is clearly political. We will also know what is the justification that the government has had to take to say that the court can take a walk. We are not interested in following court orders.
That's right. You've put the last word at the Supreme Court, and many people would see it that way. I'm sorry, Harish Mohammed Ibrahim and Ashwattham Ali Muthu. I know both of you have many contentious points to make, but I think the debate is of twofold, as I mentioned. One on the impeachment motion itself, on the other is on the case itself and the politics around it. But thanks to all three of you for joining us.